What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another business breakthrough. I sit down with John Shaffer. He is a new residential business owner. He was a partner in a new construction company, and he's trying to transition everything to residential, which you guys maybe have heard me say it's a completely different ball game. So in this episode, we discuss some sales principles that are going to help him really get a good step forward on growing his business, getting his name out there, but more importantly, helping him get uncomfortable. And I think that this is a really good episode if you are struggling with getting your closing ratio up, selling jobs more consistently, and handling objections. So this is absolutely one of my most passionate topics. So I think you're going to really get some good information out of this one. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the episode. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right, they're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener, it's so much better, and that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets podcast. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Business Breakthrough. I'm here with John Shaffer, and we are here really just kind of diving into the beginning stages of him starting a residential painting business. You were originally in, I would say general contracting, remodeling. Was that kind of where you're coming from, John?
Yeah, mostly general contracting, new construction type of painting.
Okay, so that was more, but you were in the painting business, but
yes,
not
absolutely.
residential. Okay.
Yeah.
So the focus, I think, of our talk today would really just kind of, I think, helping you be a little more strategic and outlining the differences. And there's a lot of differences. I always tell everybody that what you did and what you're doing now is two different businesses. Obviously, you know that, but I just want to reiterate it.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's just kind of break down the housekeeping items here. So do you have any employees working for you right now?
Yeah, I have one employee at the moment.
Okay. And he's an employee. He's not a contractor. He's working for your company.
It's actually she. And yeah, she's working, for my company. She's not contracted with me.
Okay, that's good. Okay. And what's her role? I mean, how skilled is she? Is this somebody that you plan on letting run a job, or what is your plan for this person?
Yeah, eventually. Right now her skill level is just, she's an amazing painter, real high quality. My overall goal with her is to groom her into a project manager position.
Love it. That's great.
But we're a ways out from that still.
Well, that'll be your role for right now. I mean, and that's kind of what I was hoping to hear, is that what you just told me is something that 75% of individuals starting out in your position have trouble finding, which is that individual that you have, and that's a huge benefit. So I think you're off on the right foot right there. And I think I'm very big on, right now in your business, you have a vision for where you want this business to go, what you want to accomplish. You just told me what you think of her and what you believe that her abilities and capabilities will deliver her in terms of a new position. Have you shared that with her yet? Or is this something that you're kind of just planning?
Absolutely.
Good.
No, it's something we've talked about. I've told her tried to lay out my ultimate goal for where I'd like to see her with the company in the future.
I love everything that you're saying right now, because that's a huge thing, man. I think that people hold their visions to themselves and not just kind of just, And when you need people to buy into it. So you can't get somebody to buy into a vision that they can't believe in themselves. So that's great. So you have a direction you're heading in with this individual. So awesome. The next thing is, what do you want your system to look like? Okay. And this is a really important topic. So let me first tell you what my system looks like. You tell me if this is in line with what you're thinking. So I have 4 individuals that work on every job. Now, in the beginning, it might be a little bit challenging to staff 4 people outside of yourself. It'd be a pretty big undertaking, especially because you're just starting out. So I think that a good benchmark would be you as the project manager, this female that you're describing as what we call a crew leader, and then what you want to look for is a helper. So it would be you 3 together. What do you think about that system right there?
Yeah, that's absolutely my next step, is moving into finding somebody that works directly with her,
Right.
that becomes part of the crew.
Yep.
So that's absolutely, that's, it's probably goal 3 on my list right now, is
Yeah,
finding that
I
person,
would say this.
you
I would
know.
say that it should move up to, in my personal opinion, it should move up to goal one, because my thing is that you should be hiring before you actually need to hire, so
Right,
you can
right,
acquire and really take your time. The last thing you want is, I know you're going to sell jobs. The way that you come across, you're professional, you're eager to learn, you want to be successful. That's going to resonate with customers, especially when you're being compared. I know that you and I have spoken before. Your competition isn't very stiff. So the idea that you're going to get jobs is
yeah,
I'm just going to say you're going to get jobs, right? That's easy. It's just a matter of like just confidently preparing for that. And the helper role is a really important role, and it's not just a helper. It's somebody that you know this girl's personality, right? This potential project
yeah,
manager. You got to make sure that you're spending time finding somebody that's going to mesh with that personality.
yeah,
She could be like a lady boss, you know. She could, I don't know what her personality's like, but ultimately everyone has different personalities they mesh with. So that's my opinion, is start forming that team immediately. You may not hire somebody this week, but you'll have a
right,
queue of individuals that have applied. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
So
there's
what
always
are,
that concern of,
what else is on your goal list? What else is on your goal list?
um I mean, my first, if we're just talking smaller goals right now, my first big goal is lead generation that I'm
Okay.
trying to sort myself through right now. My role with my last company wasn't so much in generating leads and sales. I was more project manager position, boots on the ground,
Right.
and my business partner was the guy that took care of that. So, and in construction, it's a totally different ball game when it comes to
Right.
lead generation. It's more about
Right.
networking and who you know, and finding the projects. So my number one goal right now is figuring out what is the best way for a residential company that I want to build. What's the best way to generate leads? Um,
Let's
and
talk
I got
about it.
I got kind of one of these.
Yeah, that's good, man. This is my
Like,
favorite, absolute favorite topic. You know that I showed you, we did a demo of Dripjobs. You know that
yeah,
I love leads in terms of being
yeah,
able to nurture them, acquire them as customers, and then, fulfill the promise of the sales. Like, so we have
right,
to first understand the different types of leads. And leads are categorized by level of motivation. Okay. So that's really, really important. So, you
right,
have different types of leads. So it would be very ignorant for us to just say leads, so you have leads based off of need. Okay. So let's start with the highest level need is a lead that submits their information to a couple different areas, right? So they actually physically type in their information into a lead generation company like Home Advisor, Angie's List, okay? And essentially the buying mentality is, I've recognized that I need the service. I've already assigned a budget to the service, unless I'm ignorant and I need somebody to come tell me what it's going to cost. At the very least, I am ready for somebody to knock on my door. Okay.
right,
That's the highest level of motivation. Now, when we get there, we're going to find out the sub motivation. My wife wants it done. There's cracks on the wall. I want to change the color. That's we'll find that out later. But right now, there's this desire that they have accepted that they want somebody to knock on their door, right? So you get those leads from Home Advisor, Angie's List, Thumbtack, CraftJack, all the lead generation companies, right?
right,
And you'll get them from your website, right? So if they search for a painting contractor in your area and your website is good enough to be ranked as one of the higher rankings, they will come to you there. Now you're early on in your business, so you probably have no reviews, if not maybe a couple. You don't really have, maybe I don't even know if you have a website yet.
I do,
These things
yeah,
you do. Okay,
yeah,
so you have that, but ultimately, when people fill out their information on that website, you have to build a lot of trust on that website before they say, you
right,
know what, I am going to submit my information on this website. If the website looks like it was made in, the early 1900s, they're going to think I'm never going to hear back from this guy, and then I gave them my address, and I don't know if he's gonna, come to my house at night, So, you
Right. Yeah.
know, so right where I'm getting at is the highest level of motivation is from these lead generation companies, and I want you to understand this. So when you buy these leads, you understand what game you're playing. Okay, these people have been marketed to by these guys to say, hey, we know that contractors suck, but we've assembled a trusted group of contractors, and we will facilitate the information that you give us to them. And we guarantee you that you will get screened and approved contractors calling you to do the work for you. Okay. This is a result of a market that has been damaged by poor workmanship. Okay.
Right.
So this is, so it's becoming more and more prevalent, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
there's no denying it. It's no denying it. So and we can be contractors and say, oh, I don't want to play that game. I don't want to pay money for leads. Fine, don't play it, and you're going to miss out on, where the market's going. Okay, so let's just go to motivation. That's the number one motivation, right? Number two is when you identify the need out of somebody through your own marketing channels and abilities. Okay. So let's say you go on Facebook and you put out an ad, or you do a before and after picture. Okay. And somebody's scrolling on Facebook and they say, wow, that looks good. I want to get my house painted. I wonder what that would be. So you created the motivation there. You understand? A little
Right.
bit different. A little bit different.
Yeah.
So Facebook and door knocking are the same, right? So if you knock on someone's door and you show them pictures of the houses you've done, or you've explained to them, hey, you should get your house painted. We paint houses. That's that level of need right there. And then I would say we'd also find Google searches in the one as well, where Home Advisor, Angie's. That's why I said your website, like Google searches. So if you go on Google and you're like, I need a house painter, again, that's I just want to make sure that we place that in that category. So let's just start with those two right there, right? So obviously, number one is going to be the most expensive, right? Because the
Right.
need is highest, and that the way these companies identify that need is based off the questions that they ask and the answers that they get, and then they charge you based off of those answers. So if somebody in that small questionnaire says, I want to get the job done immediately, you're going to pay more than if somebody said, I'm just planning and budgeting right now, right? So that's the way that they charge you. Okay. So ultimately, you're going to pay a lot of money, but in the beginning, you don't have to waste your time creating campaigns on Facebook and knocking
Right.
on doors and going to network events. And like that would be number three, networking and like soft marketing, which would be like dropping off cookies after you do houses, and just passing out business cards. That's number three. So let me reiterate, and then we'll dive in. So we have lead generation companies and your website, Google traffic, right? Those are the highest level need. Two is Facebook. Then we got Facebook, and number two, door knocking and like canvassing like that. That's going to be number two, because you're generating the interest. They're kind of interested, but they're not committed. And then number three is that networking that you discuss, BNI, realtors, like all that stuff. Okay, so again, one is the most expensive, three is the cheapest. One doesn't take as long, three takes the longest. Do you understand?
Right.
You
Yeah.
need number one right now. You need number one so you can start learning your systems and your process. You don't have time to go sit and network and wait for people to refer you, and wait for, like you can't wait. The feedback loop's too long. You need people that need the job done immediately, people that are moving in, people that have seen that their house is like falling apart and they need a painter to come in and clean it up. Like you need those people. So you got to be where the need is. So these are
Right.
just the marketing principles that I want to give you. And I have some really, really good news for you, dude. You ready for the
Oh, I
good
like
news?
good news. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna help you. Okay. So when I hear your situation, your strength right now is production. And that's great. I didn't have that strength when I started my business. My strength was sales. I came from a sales background. Okay. Your strength is production, right? Perfect. We're even. We can still get to the same destination because we don't have to learn marketing, right? You don't have to learn marketing. The
Right.
companies that are doing this for you are doing it for you. Do you understand? Like you just got to
Yeah.
pay the money. So for me, that's what I did. I didn't know how to get my name out there. I had no clue.
Right.
And I knocked on 20 doors, because I come from a life insurance background. So when we needed work, what did we do? We went and knocked on doors. And so
Right.
for me, I'm like, well, I mean, I had somewhat success. I knew that I'd get my face the door slammed on my face a couple times, but if I knocked on enough doors, somebody would say yes. So I did
Right.
that when I started my painting business. I'm like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. Like, I just got in the car and I'm like, I got to figure something else out. So I signed
Right.
up with one of these companies, and I was like, oh, nice, a lead, cool. Well, I do know from my life insurance background, now that's where sales kicks in, right? So once you
Right.
get that lead, now you're in the sales game. Okay, you can be taught and that you can learn. Now, marketing changes all the time, right? It's changing now, with lead generation and all these things. Like, it's constantly changing. That's how the people make buying decisions. That's harder to learn and master. Facebook can come out with a new update, and next thing you know, you can't market to certain people anymore. So you have to learn a different
Right.
way, right? So sales, the principles never change. That's what's cool. Just like production, the principles never change. So I knew that I could learn production because the principles never change.
Right.
They're not going to change. They're like it's like a law. Like, all right, well, if you pour the paint can over, it's going to pour out. So, don't
Right.
do that. Now with sales, if you don't call a lead, guess what? They're not going to hire you, right?
Right.
If you wait longer to call the lead, guess what? Their motivation drops. If you wait longer to call a lead, somebody else is going to get in there and maybe sell them the job, and you're going to miss out on the money. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what I want you to focus on, all right, is your sales, because marketing can be done for you by these lead generation companies. You get a nice website, maybe you spend some money on Google, okay? Marketing's done, right? Marketing is just generating interest and getting that information into your hands. That's it. Now,
Right.
as your company grows, now you can go into the number 2 bucket. You can start doing light Facebook ads, a little bit cheaper, looking at that marketing budget. And then number 3, you can go into BNI, a local networking group, realtors. Your business cards are going to be everywhere, and you have the luxury of having that brand. Your reviews, like for us, we have over 100 and almost 110 reviews on Google, which is 60% higher than the next competitor. Okay, by default, we're just ranked number 1 on Google when you search for a painter in this area. I don't have to pay $1 for it. Okay,
Yeah.
so, and people call us off of that all the time. So again, like, that'll come in time, but you're in the startup phase right now. Okay, so let's get marketing out of the way, right? So let's transition into sales. And before I go there, any major questions come up?
No. Sales is kind of an area of I don't know what I don't know,
Okay.
because it's not something I have tackled to a large extent. Um,
Right.
any type of sales I've ever done has been small upsales, like on the job. Oh, well,
Right.
this paint here, but gosh, if we got you into this paint here,
Yeah.
we
And you
could.
probably were very successful at that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You
I
know
know my
why?
paints. I know how to sell a
Well, it's
paint.
not that. You know why? It's because you came across very genuine. You were yourself.
Right,
Don't think that just because we're selling, we can't be ourselves. That's
right,
really a big thing. Like, yeah, you should probably maybe upgrade to Emerald here, just because it's going to last a lot longer.
right.
People probably never told you no. Like, I could tell right now just by
Yeah,
just seeing you do that. It's very rare. Okay. So take what you're good at sales. It's just you don't know what you don't know. And I think that there is a little bit of aggression, and not in a bad way, but I mean, when you are the business owner, you don't have the luxury of hearing no. So like, you need
right,
yeses. So there's a way to kind of do that to where you could still be yourself and give as much knowledge and information and make people feel trusted. But you have to understand that these people that you're doing this with have already committed to paying money to your company. So it's easy for them to add money, right? So if you're in a grocery store, and you put like 10 things in your cart, and then right when you get to the checkout line, John's there and saying, hey, you should add this little bit of paint because it's gonna, I'm just giving you an
right,
analogy. Hey, all right, whatever, John, throw it in the cart, right? So that's a little bit easier, right? But in the beginning, you got to get people into the store, right? That's the marketing, and then you got to sell them on adding things into their cart. Okay, so
right,
let's talk about that. So the first thing is that let's say you get a lead from one of these places. Okay, The major thing that I want to first hit on is that I know I showed you Dripjobs. This is not a spot for Dripjobs. I just want you to know that this is why this app was created and what I use in my business to help me, because I can't compete, unless I have these things in place. And whenever
Right.
a lead comes in to me, Dripjobs fires out a text message and an email right away, right? From
Right.
my company within seconds. Okay. Because I know that they're getting other contractors contacting them. So I definitely want to be first, and it's automated. So they can't compete with me. There's no way. So
Right.
yeah. And then they click a link, and then they schedule us. Now there are going to be people that get that text message, get that email, and for whatever reason they don't move forward. Which at first I was baffled by. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want an estimate? You requested it, dude. The people and the responses that you're going to get are so far out that you're just going to be like, I can't believe it. But they'll be like, oh well, I was just clicking on the internet. I wasn't sure that I just thought I'd get a price. Like I thought it was going to give me a price. Like so you've got to say, wait, you have to know the game, and then you have to create a solution. So when people tell me that, I say, oh, no, no problem. What we do is we give a free quote no matter what. It'll just take 30 minutes. I have Wednesday available at 2:00. I'm going to be in your area. Does that work okay for you, Miss Jones? Even if she tells you the example I gave you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like you've got to be the liaison. Like you've got to take them by the hand. Like even people that have, this is the main point here. Even people that have requested quotes from you, which is crazy, but it happens. So you got to,
Yeah.
that's sales right there. That's saying, okay, Miss Jones, listen, I know you just thought you were going to get a price. Every house is different. I'd like to just see your house 2:00 on Tuesday. It'll be 30 minutes. You can stay inside if you want, but then that's the first commitment. That's getting her to come to the store. Right.
Right.
And then
Right.
now when you're there, she might pop outside and, Miss Jones, I have a question here. Did you know that there's some cracking happening right here? Oh, I didn't see that. Well, Miss Jones, I don't want to be a little too forward here. I know you were just looking for a price, but that already has water damage. And the longer that sits there, the greater your problem is going to be. Right. So it's like, so once you get them in the door, you could sell them on your services, create urgency, and go from there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's kind of how
Yeah.
we would nurture the leads. That's lead nurturing. So if you spend money on leads, okay, you want to get your money back as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So have you done some estimates yet?
Yeah. Yeah. What have I done? 9 estimates so far. Landed 3 jobs. So I mean,
Nice.
yeah.
30%.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not bad. So, uh,
What
so yeah, and
challenges
that's
have you ran into? Did you have somebody that you did an estimate to where you thought, man, I thought I was going to get that one?
yeah. Yeah, actually there was a guy that I went and did an estimate on, and I mean he and I were clicking, you
Clicking.
know, great conversation. He liked ideas I had, and I felt my estimate was on point, and I put it all together on the table for him right then and there, and got
Love
it.
it.
Well, I'll get in touch.
What
And
did what did you say when he said, I'll get in touch with you?
I think I said, okay, well, thanks for your time.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Because I
and
didn't know what to do. I
yeah,
felt
and I
rejected. So I
love
just
that. Oh
went.
man, this is my favorite right here because I have look, you earned it, right? So you first you greeted the customer, you've built some trust, you've built some rapport, you've made a friend, it sounds like, guys were going back and forth. He knows that you were the guy, you're a great guy, you're going to do a great job. We all know this, right? So when he
Right.
saw your price, everything changed, right? Because he had an idea of what he was going to spend on that job.
That makes
Does
sense.
that make sense? Like he
Yeah.
thought, and look, educated buyers, which are the good customers we want because they have money, because they're not stupid with their money. Okay.
Yeah.
Educated buyers don't go into any buying decision without an idea, at least, of what they want to spend. And when
Right.
somebody comes to them and tells them they're wrong, they have to, whoa, 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 what do you mean I'm wrong? My entire life, I've been right. I'm always right. But this guy's telling me I'm wrong. I've
Yeah.
been buying things for 50 years. And now you're telling me that I'm wrong. What did you come in at? What was the price? Remember?
Um,
You could ballpark it.
yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't a full paint. It was somewhere just shy of three, uh, somewhere in there between 2,500 and 3,000.
Okay, so
So
let's say it was 2950. Okay, just for the sake of our, I'm going to teach you something right here. You're going to use, and it's going to help. Okay, so if I were you, I'm going to act like you're the guy, right? And the first thing I need to know before we dive into this short role play, when you calculated that price, did you calculate it based off of a certain profit margin? I know you job cost, so did you margin that out?
oh, absolutely, yeah.
And what was that profit margin?
Um, it was close to 50. I think 46 was where I had it at.
46%. If everything goes well into plan, you were at 46%. I'm going to say it was at 2950. Now let me ask you, okay? Would you accept the job at 42%?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely, right? So
yeah,
let's say that 42% is 2750. Okay? 42%. All right? Now let me ask you this. If the kids had no food and your project manager or whoever has kids just they're like, "Hey, John, we need to work, man." Would you take the
right.
job at 35%?
Yep,
All right, cool. All right, so that being said, now we have three prices. We have 2950. That's the high ball price. We have 2750, okay? And we have 2500. Now, some people might say, "Tanner, that's immoral." Well, this is business. And it's not about being immoral. It's about supply and it's about demand.
right.
That's all it comes down to. Our job as business owners is to maximize. That's it. We have to
Yeah,
maximize our resources. That is your job as a business owner. If you narrow down I'm a business owner. My one responsibility is maximize my resources. That's it. Okay. So if I have no work, I need to make sure that my resources have work. So I
right.
might break even on a job. If there's nothing, I'll sell a job
Yeah,
for 0% margin as long as my guys have work for the week until I can find more. Guess what happens when we
absolutely.
have more? That price is going up. Okay.
Right.
So that's our job, maximize resources. So with that being said, you needed a job. This guy was the ideal customer. You like the job type, you want the job. So you go to this guy. Now tell me, John, that you're going to think about it and you'll get back to me.
Yeah. Let me think about it, and I'll get a hold of you.
Oh, well, before I go, normally, and I'll be honest with you, John, whenever I hear that, it usually has to do something with my price. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just curious. Did you have a budget in mind for this project? Play long.
Yep. Yep.
May I ask what that budget was, John?
I was coming closer to the 2,000 range, honestly.
2 grand. Now, before I go, I just have to ask this question. I'm surprised I didn't ask it to you before. Have you ever hired a painting contractor before?
No, no.
You haven't. Okay. So, and I assume, me and you chopped up a lot about you doing a lot of work around the house. I assume that you see this job as something you probably do yourself and you've done painting your whole life by yourself. And I understand that. I want to kind of give you an idea of where our price comes in at and just some things that I just want you to know that goes on behind the scenes to make this engine run. Do you have a second? Could I share that with you?
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome. So one thing that I want to share with you is that we do everything by the book. And you being somebody, I could tell you have a beautiful home, and you told me that you owned a business early on in your life. You can appreciate that. Am I right?
yeah, absolutely.
You and I both know that paying taxes and workers' comp and all that stuff adds up pretty quick. Would you agree?
Yeah, it definitely adds up.
Yeah. And one thing about me, John, is that I'm not a hands-on owner. And you might think, well, that's different. Well, it's a good thing because the number one problem with contractors is, John,
Nope.
lack of communication. So the good news is that I'm going to be fully hands-on with you in terms of being here to make sure the project is going well. I won't be painting the project, but I'm going to be supervising the project, John. And I'm going to make sure that I call you every single day to make sure this job is exactly the way I described it's going to be on this piece of paper. How's that sound? Pretty good?
That does sound good.
Awesome, man. So listen, I think we built some good rapport. I'll be honest with you, man. I'd like to say that I take every job, but I pick and choose my jobs. And I think you'd be an ideal customer for us. And the last thing I would want, John, is for you to feel like, we're pricing you out of the water. But again, like I said, to make this engine run, we've got to be at a certain price point. Now, I'm at 2950. and I'd like to see if, if I give you a really good deal, would you allow me to earn your business today?
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. John, I'm going to do this job for $27.50, and we'll take care of this job, and I'm going to circle that here for you, John. And what do you think? How's that sound?
It sounds better.
Better. Okay, John. Well, you wanted to be at $2,000, and I'm at $27.50. Okay. Now there's something missing here, and I kind of want to know: have you gotten any other quotes?
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
some other quotes.
What were some things you liked about those other quotes, John?
Really, for the most part, it comes down to the price.
Comes down to the price.
A lot of guys are coming in cheaper.
Sure. And let me ask you, I mean, if you had your ideal painting scenario, what's most important to you?
I think time and quality.
Time and quality, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: the other contractors, are they working alone, or they have a team with them?
They're all mostly solo.
Mostly solo, John. This is where I think that you're really going to appreciate us. We come in with a team of 3. Now you might think again, well, why is that important? Well, it's very important if time and efficiency is your number one motivating factor for buying. And with that being said, John, that costs money. So listen, I know that you want to be at $2,000, and I know that you might have got a quote from $2,000, but I have a team to pay for, John. And if you want efficiency and you want quality, again, that's going to cost some money, and that's money that I have to pay to make sure that you receive. So, at the very least, John, I'm going to give you one more offer, man. And this isn't because I want to barter with you. This is because I really want to earn your business. And this is the last offer I can give you, man. Unfortunately, it just won't work out otherwise. If I give you the job for $2,500, would you allow me to earn your business today?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So at the end of the day, you're going to go through that scenario, and you got to practice that, man. It's fluid sales. Like, you got to find that thing. Like, and I appreciate the challenge, because it was kind of like, I would have known your motivation ahead of time, right? If I was your customer, like,
right.
If I was your contractor, I would have found out that speed and efficiency is your motivating factor. I would have found that out early on, and I would have used that without asking you. And then I would have built value. Like, so the first thing is like, you have to understand, where's he getting that $2,000 from, right? Like, where the heck did you come up with that? Are you a painting contractor, John? Not you, the guy. It's like, how do you know it's going to be $2,000? Where'd you come up with that, right? So we got to find out what that is and how we got it. So first thing I asked, remember what I asked is, have you ever hired a house painting contractor before, right? So if he did, okay, you want to find out what type of experience it was, so you know who you're being compared to.
Right.
Right.
That's a good point.
If it was a garbage experience, and the guys, say, oh, how'd that experience go for you? And they'll be honest. They can't wait to tell another contractor how bad another contractor was. Everybody does it. So I'm like, so we'd be like, man, they're horrible, man. They didn't show up on time. So in my head, I'm locking, okay, he does not like when people are late. I'm going to use that. He's like, well, the product they used, I think they watered it down. So he's afraid of contractors being immoral. Okay. So, I just couldn't even get a hold of him. So communication, these are all his pain points. Right. And what happens is, I'm going to link those pain points to the cheap job he paid for. Okay. So at the end of the day, he's telling me all the reasons why he paid such a cheap price and has this cheap idea of what this job's going to cost. So I don't have to dilly around and try to create my own reasons for him to pay more. I'm going to use his reasons. He told me them.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So absolutely.
So be like, Tanner, they weren't on time. I think the paint was watered down, and I couldn't get a hold of him. Right. So when he tells me that budget, I say, well, John, one thing about us, okay, is that we actually use a time tracking app to make sure that our teammates are on time. And I check it every morning. And then we have a project manager that'll be here to hold any crew members accountable if they are running late. We give a little bit of a buffer. We're not perfect, but every team member will be on site at 8:00 in the morning. Okay. That's one thing. You don't have to worry about us. Cha-ching. He's up from $2,000 to $2,200. I'll pay $200 for that. Okay. Well, one thing I'll say is that I can't even begin to describe how bad I feel that you feel that your paint was watered down. I mean, to be honest, John, paint's $30 a gallon. So, I mean, it couldn't have been that much that they were trying to skimp away from you. And I'll be honest, we work in premium paint with your price. So you're getting exactly what, and I'll even tell you how many gallons we're getting because I want you to know. I'll do full transparency. I will even open up these gallons in front of you because I know that's something that you dealt with before, and I want to change the way you see contractors. If anything, cha-ching, 250 more. He's at 2450 at this point. He's like, okay, I'll pay 250. All right. And then communication, right? And John, by now, you know that we communicate well. I answered the call right away when you called. I was on time when I was here. Hopefully, I've done a good job describing how we're going to do this job, John. And one thing that I'll tell you is that even when the job's going on, you get a call from me first thing in the morning to make sure, everything's okay. And I'll call you at the end of the day. Or if you're on site, I will be here in the morning and I'll be here at the end of the day. And you're describing what that's going to look like for John. So he's like, cha-ching, 2750, right? so you see what I mean? So, and all that we're doing is we're closing the gap, right? So the first thing is the idea of what he thinks he's going to pay, right? And then your price of what you want him to pay. And there's a gap in between. Okay. How do you close a $1,000 gap? You build value. And how do you build value? You have to know what's valuable to somebody. And how do you know what's valuable to somebody? You ask.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So hang in there. There's going to be people that you might go through this with. You might try to press, you might ask these questions and you might fall on your face. It might come out weird. It might, you might not, they might be like, no, no, no. And that's fine. Okay.
Right.
It's going to happen. And I don't have 100% closing ratio, but I get better every time. And more importantly, I increase my chances every time because if you just leave on the first no, like you're missing out on all of those people that needed one more no. And, dude, you know how many times I've been so surprised by how far away I was from earning someone's business? I would come in on a job at 5,100 and then lower it to 4,850 and I'd get the job. And I'd leave that job. I'd leave that estimate being like, dude, I could have left and I was only $300 away from getting that estimate. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So many times that happened to me, dude. And I'm like, wow. So once it happens to you one time, then you're sold on that.
Right. And if a job's worth it, there's $300 in there that you can squeeze out for sure.
For sure. That's why it's important. You're a numbers guy, bro. So that's why this was fun to do with you because I know that you're not far away. Some people don't even know their numbers with margins. And I'm thinking like you can run a very, very profitable house painting business on 30%. We're shooting 50, 45 and 40 just because we tout ourselves as, premium, which I'm the same way, I get it, but at the end of the day, if there's nothing in the pipeline, we'll go to 25% just get the ball rolling.
Yep.
I started January, bro. I started January with nothing, dude. I don't know what it was. Like I mentioned this a couple times. There was just nothing. I don't know what was going on with people. First of all, December, I was planning. I already saw it coming. I know my business enough to know you got to hustle now. Like get the schedule going. And then now all of February's filled. We filled January, all of February's filled. Now that February's filled, I'm 3 weeks out. So what do I do by default now? Raise the prices.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if the prices are too low, you'll get too many yeses and they'll have to wait too long.
Right.
And some people you can't even get to anyway because they need it done quickly. But if somebody's willing to pay premium pricing, I'll move a job at 40% and place somebody who's moving into their house that I know is a huge hit at 60%. I'll move that. I'll maneuver the schedule to make that happen to maximize the week. Okay. But that's a little bit deeper in terms of kind of the way that you can maneuver your schedule, but it really all comes down to margins. And when you get that, sales can be very simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we covered, what was that? Did you have a question?
I think I was saying something, but I forgot what that was.
Sorry, man.
It's still morning. I'm still, getting the caffeine in here. So
yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
And it's cold and snowy outside. It's harder to wake up.
I hear you, man. So what's the schedule look like for you this week? You got anything lined up?
I don't have anything job-wise starting this week. I've got 2 smaller jobs firing off next week. So my schedule this week is, I I'm going to get into lead generation service, like research and all that stuff, figure out where I want to start with that today. And then the rest of the week, I don't know.
Yeah, I got you.
It's, new business. It kind of starts, you're like, oh, I'm slammed today. And then, oh, I have nothing.
I got you. But that's your challenge as a new business owner on your own, right? So when you worked at your other job, you had accountability, right? You had a partner or you had somebody. Were you an owner of that, or were you a
I was an owner. We are a 50-50 partnership.
So you had some sort of accountability. Like you were just like, hey man, I'm doing this today. I'm doing this today. Like when you're on your own, you have no accountability. If you don't wake up and do things, it won't get done. It's like one of those things that like you've got to be self-disciplined to the point where you have that structure and schedule what it is that you do. So you have one thing that stood out to me that you told me was that you've done 9 estimates. 3 of them you closed. Okay. What's going on with those other 6 people? Have you followed up with anyone yet?
Not all of them have been followed up with. One of them was just I'll be following up with them today. My current structure is getting an email out 48 hours after a rejection, I guess, if you will, after I've given them the bid and they haven't accepted right away. So
okay. Let me give you a better strategy.
I can see in your face you're like, that's wrong.
Yeah, because I'm all for automated emails or emails going out, and that could be automated. That and the email should just be building value, right? It should be explaining what your process. It should be the email should be reinforcing the things that you showcase to them because they don't really remember it all, right? I mean, there's no way. There's so much going on. They don't know what to expect, and like the emails are again going to just reinforce value. Like if you're doing cabinet coding, if you have Dripjobs or you do some sort of automated email sequence, it should have a video with your cabinet coding process for them to see, oh wow, that's nice. Or a team photo, hey, this is our team, meet our team. Like you can really build a lot of value instead of saying, hey, are you ready? Hey, are you ready? You want to hire us yet? Like you don't want to do that. So where I'm going with this is that if I give you a bid, right? If I come over to your house and remember, you don't have to do this negotiation every time. I don't do that. If I know my price is what I want it to be, and I'm not gonna sit there and go down to 2,750 or 2,500. That's only if I need the job, right? I'm not gonna just like if I really want the job, if it's like a 4-day interior and my margins would be 40% on 4 days, like totally, I'll get down to 40% to close it. But in some cases, we do got to let that person get their estimates because some people will not move without getting more estimates. And we know that. Like, you got to find out what type of person you're dealing with. They'll be like, oh, no, I'm getting 3 estimates. I'm not doing anything until I get 3 estimates, So, you got to know, right? So what I do is the next day, I call anyone I've given an estimate to, right? So I have a software right now, Joist, that I use. That's an easy estimating and invoicing software. It'll be replaced by Dripjobs once it's ready because you can do the same thing that I like about this. But what I like about it is you can see when people open your estimates, right? So if I give you a quote and I send it virtually, I can tell when you open it. It tells me. So what that means is I will call you the next day. I already know you've opened it, and I'll say, hey, John, just reaching out to you. Did you have any questions on the proposal I sent over to you? Right? Or if you went in person, hey, John, just reaching out to you. I just want to know if you wanted me to reiterate anything I went over yesterday. Did any questions come up overnight? Okay. That just opens up the door. It's either going to be yes or no. No questions. I'll wait right there for a sec. Yes, I have questions. You would answer those questions. If the answer is no, okay, no questions. Well, John, let me ask you. I mean, is there anything stopping you from moving forward with us? Right? Just as simple. That's fair. It's fair to ask. Anything stopping you?
Right.
Well, John, I'll be honest, the price is a little too high. Right? So there you go. Now you have another opportunity to do exactly what we would have done in person. Some people won't tell you that the price is too high. It's uncomfortable for people to say, no, price is too high, I'm broke.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not broke, but price is too high. I can't afford it, or I didn't budget for it, or whatever the reason is. That's where you come in, and now you have an opportunity to build value over the phone.
Right.
Right. Like, so, and then if the answer is yes, Oh, I have a question. Well, this company said that they were going to do this. Well, if you didn't follow up, you may have never gotten a chance to compete with that company. Oh, well, Miss Jones, well, I understand that, but we're doing that too. Oh, you are? Yes. Like, so, because they may like you, but they might think, well, that company's doing something different. And I do want them to do that. And they're not going to call and say, John, are you doing this? Like, it's like, so you have to be
Right.
that person every single time to just be present. Right. So
Right.
that's day one. Okay. I'm going to call in 2 more days, whether they tell me they're getting estimates next week or not. Hey, Susan, it's John again. Now I'm just building a relationship, right? Now I'm just like, because this is what a business owner does. Like, you've got to sell jobs and you have to be present and you have to nurture people and you have to make friends and like, hey, Susan, Tanner, how did that other estimate go? Oh, it went okay. Yeah, I mean, Tanner, we're still leaning toward you. I think we got one more coming. Great, no problem. Do you mind if I call you back after that one? Oh, sure, no problem. Like, so it's like that's what I mean. So your day with these 6 people could be filled with calling every single one of them and asking if they have any questions. Even if they told you
Right.
no, say, well, I was just looking over the proposal here and I really want to earn your business. We will do such an amazing job for you. And I just had to ask. I mean, if I were to maybe sweeten this deal up a little bit, Mrs. Smith, would you allow me to earn your business today? And she
Right.
might say, no, John, stop calling me. Or she might say, well, I'm listening, you know?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
and then from there, dude, it's well, I was looking over the proposal, Miss Smith, and I don't want to take anything away from the job. I don't want to take anything away from you. Normally we would say, well, we don't have to do this and then we'll give you this price. I want to give you everything because I know how important this project is to you. I know you told me that this is something you haven't done in 10 years. So it's like you're reiterating the things that they say are most important. You have to care enough to remember it. Like,
Right.
first of all, you got to ask for it, and then you got to care enough to remember what it is that was important to them. Well, you said that it's been 10 years since you had it painted. It was, it was your favorite color, and the color's faded, and I want to restore that color back, and I want to be the one to do it because this is why we're in business, is to transform homes. I can do the job for whatever the amount is today. If you place a deposit today, we'll lock it in and then we'll get started on your free color consultation. And it's like you're kind of like, all right, let's get the money out of the way and now let's get started on giving you more value than you're paying me because that's what our business is
Right.
about, right? So I know we got to do this uncomfortable money thing. Let's get that out of the way. And then now you're going to get your color consultation. We're going to come there, like we're going to do all this amazing stuff for you and you're going to get exactly what you want,
Right.
you know? So you might be listening to this and thinking, this is a lot. But remember, if you were to sit here and tell me about staining and new and all the stuff that I would be like, dude, this is a lot. But I would know that there's certain parameters, right? So eventually, the more I do whatever you're teaching me to do, I'm going to learn.
Right.
The more practice you have at just trying one of these principles here and there, trying to get 2 no's, right? So don't ever leave another estimate without getting a second no, right? That's a really good thing that you can remember that's going to keep this whole thing simple. Get to the
Right.
second no, right?
Get to the
Because that's
second
good.
no.
Get to the second no. Now, again, if you want to, obviously, you can listen to this again and kind of go through some of the word tracks. And I think you have the sales course that I put out. So
Yep.
a lot of this is in there. It's the same principles. You just have to get to the second no. And when you get to the second no, you're going to build this like confidence in you to just press forward a little bit. How do we get to the second no? We ask a question, right? And that question is either going to be, what was the budget, right, for the job, or have you hired a painting contractor before?
Right.
We want to always find out what the budget is, always, because everyone
Yeah.
has one. Remember what I said? That's a law, unless the
Yeah.
person's ignorant and has never bought anything or care about budget, and they say, "Oh, I had no clue." I mean, you had to understand. Well, did you think it was going to be 50 grand for
Right.
the job? So, all right, man. So those are some things I think are going to help you big time.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's definitely solid advice. It's sales is just a beast that
It
I got to
is.
figure out how to wrap my head around and how to make it something that starts to come to me second nature, that it's just,
Here's another rule. If you're feeling uncomfortable, you're selling. Okay. And here's the thing.
I can see that making sense.
You have to back that up with honesty, integrity, doing the right thing, taking care of people, making sure that, guess what? You believed in me. I'm going to deliver everything to you to the standard of which you believed in me to do. And there's some salespeople that care just about the money. I'm not like that. I will make sure I will go paint. If something happens, like, I'll be there, so even if my team drops the ball, I'm coming, because you gave me your money. That's how I operate. And that's why we're successful, is because we don't care about the money, but that's the game we need to play. Like, so don't get it. Yeah. I got to play the game. I got to maximize. I have to run a business that's profitable in order to live. So, but it might feel uncomfortable getting to that second no. And you might think, am I being too forward here? But guess what? It's either going to be you or it's going to be somebody else. Make it you. Make it you.
That's make it you. Just put a poster up on my wall. It just says, make it you.
Make it you. Do we need to trademark that? Should that be something going on?
It kind of feels like it. So,
man, it was fun chatting with you, bro. Hopefully I can connect with you again, man. And I'll help you on your journey,
absolutely.
Awesome. Was this helpful for you?
Yeah, definitely. This definitely has my mind turning in some better directions this morning.
So you're gonna make those follow-up calls.
Yes, I am. Yep, that's first on my agenda now.
And I want that message later that says you sold one, and now what I want you to do ahead of time, though, don't just pick up the phone, man. Look at the quotes, look at your margins, find out what that middle line price is going to be for each one, and then challenge yourself for each one. If they say they don't have any questions, well, or if they say it's a little too high, find out what that budget is, and then close the gap. Okay, like you did. We went from his budget was $2,000. We got to 2,500. Whatever. I'm still making 35%. On to the next one.
Right. Yep.
All right, man. Thanks so much for your time, bro.
Yeah. Thank you too, Tanner.
No problem.
Hey, I just want to take a second to thank you for joining me here on the Contractor Secrets podcast. I'm just going to take this opportunity to let you know that my passion is coaching people, helping people. I've changed my Instagram name to @contractorcoach, and I did that because that is my passion. I want to help you. So please reach out to me. If you have an issue going on in your business, send me an email, find me on Instagram, message me, and let's do a breakthrough session. I want to work through your problems in your business to help you get to that next level. And one thing that I always say is this, the difference between those that get over the humps and the hurdles in business is just a change in perspective. And that's what I plan to offer you. So get with me, message me, allow me to help you take your business to the next level.